This report analyses the results of a recent study of a Year 7 primary class undertaking a research project. The purpose of the research project was to evaluate the use of inquiry-based learning in the upper primary part of the school, and in particular in the KLA of history. Although non-official KLA in Queensland schools implementing the national curriculum in 2012, this particular school was trialling the history component before the implementation became mandatory in 2013. This Year 7 class was studying ancient history and had previously examined the units on what is history, archaeology, theory of hominids and their spread around the earth, and were about to study some of the great ancient civilizations, the first being ancient Egypt. This ILA is aligned to the draft Australian history curriculum in the following ways. Historical knowledge and understanding is the role of significant individual in ancient Egyptian history, and historical skills identify a range of questions about the past to inform an historical inquiry and use a range of communication forms and digital technologies. Before the research project, a class-wide form of a KWL chart was conducted, reviewing what the children already knew about ancient Egypt. Some general work was undertaken before the ILA project sheet was distributed. The purpose of the ILA was explained to the children, and the fact that all information regarding their work would be kept confidential, and that if their individual responses were discussed, then they would simply be identified by a letter. The research project was originally more of the regurgitation of information rather than guided inquiry using higher order thinking skills. After posting the original ILA on Facebook and receiving feedback, I negotiated with the classroom teacher to add the highlighted section to try and have the children relate this Egyptian to someone in modern day life using the skills of comparing and contrasting. The ILA research project was the lead-up work before the students went to visit the Mummy Secrets of the Tomb exhibition, which was being displayed at the Queensland Museum at Southbank. It was to be their culminating activity for the unit. Data for the ILA was conducted on 3 separate occasions. After the distribution of the research project sheet, the children were asked to begin their own personal KWH LAQ chart on their particular person to study, as well as completing the first slim toolkit questionnaire. The second questionnaire was completed at approximately the halfway point of their research, with the third questionnaire distributed after their research project was complete. Although there were a total of 27 students in the class, not all students completed all 3 questionnaires. 2 students completed only questionnaires 2 and 3, 2 students completed only questionnaires 1 and 3, and 2 further students only completed questionnaire 1. The reasons behind this include illness, as well as major disruptions throughout the school due to the school musical. Therefore, 21 students completed all 3 questionnaires, and their results will be discussed in this report. The ILA was based on the 7 steps of Coulthard's guided inquiry model of the information search process. However, Brunner's inquiry process is also a useful tool to use. As can be seen from the figure, it is divided into 4 main areas, and each of these areas then pose a number of questions. What is interesting about this model is that the students are able to go back to a previous level if they need to before progressing again. Another model with similar properties is Stripling's model of inquiry. Again, like Brunner's inquiry process, Stripling's model of inquiry allows the students to go back to a previous step before progressing. It is also a cycle, so the process can continue to develop instead of ceasing once the students evaluate or create. The results. Question 1. The first question in each 3 questionnaires asks the students to write down what they knew of the topic. In questionnaire 1, it was asking students to show what existing knowledge they already had on their topic. In questionnaires 2 and 3, it was asking students to show their developed understanding. However, most children understood this question to mean to write down facts. Only 1 student wrote any form of explanation, and no students wrote any concluding statements from this question. The graph shows that between questionnaire 1 and questionnaire 2, there was quite a significant increase in the number of facts the children wrote in response. In most cases, there was some increase between questionnaire 2 in questionnaire 3. However, on closer analysis of their responses, it was interesting that some children wrote the same facts and then added to that list as they progressed, and other children wrote completely new facts in each questionnaire that they had previously not listed. Question 2 gauged the students' interest in the topic. As can be seen from the graph, in questionnaire 1 no students had no initial interest, and only one student indicated not much interest in their topic. 12 of the 21 students had quite a bit of interest, and 8 of the 21 students had a great deal of interest. Halfway through the ILA, the second questionnaire showed not a lot of movement. 3 students indicated not much interest, a change of 2 students, and this was reflected in the movement from the quite a bit category. Analysing the movement of individual results showed that 14 children did not change the rating over the 3 questionnaires. There were minor movements of 1 in total, 1 in each survey, a decrease of 1, whether the children's rating increased then decreased, or vice versa. This indicates that there was a fair amount of interest in the topic, and there was minimal movement in their ratings throughout the 3 questionnaires. Question 3 surveyed the students as to their knowledge about their topic. As predicted, the majority of students in questionnaire 1 were in the not much and quite a bit categories. There appears to be movement up the scale as the questionnaires progressed. The data has again been analysed to see if the children's ratings have changed throughout the ILA and how significant the change was. As can be seen in the graph, 8 of the 21 students kept the same rating throughout. Another 8 students changed 1 rating in total. 1 student went up and then down, or down and then up in their ratings, and 3 students increased by 2 ratings overall. It would be hoped that by the end of the process the students would indicate an increased level of knowledge of their topic. Analysis of the data does not support this, and possible reasons will be discussed later in this report. Question 4 asked the children what they found easy to do. From their responses I have sorted them into 4 different categories: ICT skills, search strategies in using different search engines, finding images, creating PowerPoint presentations, etc. Literacy skills, finding main points, summarising, understanding the text, etc. Information literacy skills, finding appropriate websites and evaluating information, and also presentation. As can be seen from the results in the graph, what they found easiest were the ICT skills, and this progressed with each survey. In the initial class-wide KWL, some students expressed the desire to be able to Google more effectively. Therefore, lessons on search strategies were scaffolded to help the children in this area. For example, students were shown how to filter results to their own reading level. As well, a variety of search engines were explored with the following hot list available to the children on the curriculum server at school. As a result, some of the comments from those who expressed an increase in ICT skills were, "I used to find it hard to read some of the information because the words were too hard and it didn't make sense. Then Mr. L taught us how to find sites for kids and it was much easier. And also, I now know there are lots of sites that we can use to search for information apart from Google." Question 5 asked, "What do you find difficult to do?" Again, the student responses have been sorted into the same 4 categories as in question 4: ICT skills, literacy skills, information literacy skills, and presentation. The level of difficulty with ICT skills has decreased over the 3 questionnaires. However, literacy skills rose and then decreased slightly. Even though these were Year 7 students, a number of the children responded that they still had difficulty identifying important information and then to summarise information into their own words. It is to be noted that intervention was necessary during the early stages of the ILA, as many children were attempting to copy and paste information into either a Word document or straight into PowerPoint slides. Further instruction was given in identifying main ideas and summarising. The children were also informed about plagiarism and the consequences. Presentation skills became an issue as the ILA progressed. The presentation of the research was to be in a format of their own choice. It was impressed on the children that it was hoped that they would come up with interesting and different ways to present their information. The class came up with a number of different and interesting ways in a class discussion. However, halfway through the ILA, the classroom teacher was absent for a few days, and the relief teacher had the students complete most of the research of the ILA. She also recommended that the students present their information as a PowerPoint presentation, or by making a chart, and proceeded to hand out cardboard to the students. This was reflected in their responses to question 5. Other comments recorded regarding their difficulties were finding sites being blocked by Education Queensland and coming up with appropriate search terms, for example the use of synonyms for each search. 2 children also said they found it difficult to read from the screen instead of a printout. The results from question 6 in questionnaire 3 were analysed according to Bloom's revised taxonomy. This revised taxonomy has evaluating as the second highest skill, and the students then create. It can be seen that the majority of the responses were factual, corresponding to lower level skills. However, personal observation of the students' learning and their final products suggested that higher level learning did occur. Several reasons can be suggested for these results. Firstly, there was a general lack of enthusiasm from the students in filling out the questionnaires. Secondly, neither I nor the classroom teacher were present in the room when the children filled out questionnaires 2 and 3. This was done with the relief teacher. And thirdly, the way in which the questions from these slim toolkit questionnaires are written lends itself to factual statements. Therefore, when using this with classes in the future, either writing the questions in a slightly different way or ensuring a more hands-on approach when the children fill them out may produce a more productive result for analysis. Final question, question 6 in questionnaire 2 and question 7 in questionnaire 3, asked the students how they felt about their research. In questionnaire 2, approximately 60% of the students felt confident in their research, which was the highest rating in that particular question. In questionnaire 3, only 1 student expressed confusion about their research. 10 of the 21 students were confident, and none of the 10 of the 21 students indicated they were happy with their research. An analysis of the movement of children through the different categories in questionnaire 2 and 3 shows that 9 students moved from confident to happy, 6 students did not change their rating from confident, 1 student increased their rating from confused to confident, 1 student maintained their rating of confused, 1 student increased their rating from overwhelmed to confident, and 1 student changed their rating from frustrated to happy. This school has a culture that once researching has been taught, it does not need to be taught again. This culture has to change, and I feel that I must take the lead role here to change the culture. Guided inquiry also needs to be a school-wide approach so that it becomes part of the students' learning instead of one-off experience. As an example of guided inquiry, this has not been a great success. Motivation was an issue, both with the research process itself, possibly due to the amount of projects they had already done this year, as well as being told that they would be doing another on Egyptian tools as soon as they completed this current project, as well as filling out the questionnaires. The absence of the classroom teacher during the ILA and the relief teacher having the children complete their research and their presentations, as well as the questionnaires in 3 entire days, did not lend itself to a great result. However, as a learning experience, I found it invaluable. It has shown me that, if structured correctly, students can be enthusiastic to learn. The emphasis on learn and not just regurgitate information. If the ILA was to truly follow Coulthard's model, then the students would develop their own questions that would fit in with the essential question of the unit. From the initial discussion, students can, if supported with equipment and opportunities, develop innovative ways to present their information. Informal comments from the students included, "Why do we have to learn this?" and "Where will we ever use this?" They saw no point to the process. It requires the real world element, which I feel was missing. Plenty to think about next time.